History is just one of those topics that makes people online lose their mind because history is recorded reality. And a lot of people online don't care about reality. They don't care about the truth. The only thing they care about is optics. How does this look? Not only to say, but how is it to hear? And if it's displeasing to say, and if it's displeasing to hear, then the truth plays little to no role, and that must be wrong. Because I didn't like hearing it, and I didn't like the person saying it, and I didn't like saying it, so that must not be true. That is the case here with Asmongold saying something as basic as America was founded as a white Christian nation. It was founded by Christian men and women from Europe who were white, exclusively white. That is uncontroversial. It's unambiguous. It's recorded history. But on the internet, that is a little bit taboo. Because you're not supposed to say that. That's not the politically correct thing to say. The politically correct thing to say is, well, everyone contributed. Everyone contributed to making America what it is. That's what you're supposed to say, because that's the politically correct, optics-friendly thing to say. And Asmongold said, fuck your optics, fuck your feelings, I'm just going to say what's true. The white people came over here and conquered, so this land is theirs, which is just true. Anyway, let's listen to xQc give his take on what Asmongold said. Now, understand, I'm not going to be as hard on xQc. xQc is not an American. I mean, let's be honest here. xQc speaks English. xQc speaks English about as well as an illegal immigrant that just came to America and is now working in the McDonald's drive-thru. I can understand about every third word of what xQc says. He's not an American, so I wouldn't expect him to understand our history. He comes from a different part of the world with a different culture, and when he hears these things, he filters it through his perspective. So I understand that. So we're not going to go as hard on xQc, but we are going to listen to what he has to say, and I'm going to give my opinion.
White people's land, that's...
Yeah, it was mostly white, but it wasn't only white people, right? And
it was only white people, but the point is, he's trying to do this knee-jerk thing of, no, it was everyone contributed. No, the people that immigrated here from Europe were white. White men, white women, and they were Christian.
And then the population morphs into a mixed population, and that's always going to be there. It could be American, non-white. That's still your country. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, it was mostly white people, but so what though? Even if it was most, saying that it's white people's land is kind of odd, because that creates a sentiment that people that are white feel like they have more of a claim to where they live at, and they want to outcast people that aren't white, and it's just odd. I'm sorry, it's odd. You can call me woke all you want, I don't give a shit. It creates a resistance in people's minds that they're somehow still in a form superior just for being white. Buddy, a lot of people around you might be more American than you.
Miss you.
Right? And they're not white at all.
Agahi.
How are
Now, do you think that xQc would say this sort of thing about Saudi Arabia? When somebody said that, like, Saudi Arabia is Arabic land, like, that is Arabic land, do you think he'd say, no, what you don't understand is it's not entirely Arabic land, there are other people, like, do you think that he would go off on that? No, because he's from a part of the world with a culture that thinks that, no, you have to be critical of white people. You can't say that this is white land. There is no such thing as white land. No, white people have to give up their land. White people can't have a culture. Like, the way that these people think about white people is so reductive and so completely and totally backwards. This guy would not say that about China. Is China for the Chinese? No, China's not for the Chinese. Yes, it is. America is a white Christian nation. That's what it was founded as, and that's what it should be. No. Does that mean that other people can't be here? No. But it is and should be a predominantly white, predominantly Christian nation. If you don't do that, if you choose to go in another direction, you're going to turn it into one of the shitholes that the people that have illegally came from. And you know where we see that? In France, especially Paris. We see that in Rome. Do you remember, what's his name, Tyler Oliveira, where he went out and he showed all the scammers in Paris? He showed all the scammers in New York City. When you start adopting third world people that are a different race, a different culture into America, then you start changing America. America doesn't necessarily mean a race of people. It's not necessarily a race, but it kind of is. It is a predominantly white, Christian-centric country. Just like Saudi Arabia is a predominantly Arab Muslim country. It's okay for me to say that about Saudi Arabia. It's not okay for me to say that about America. That shows a fundamental flaw in the thinking of these people, because it's okay for them to have it, but not for us to have it. Because these people think that white people shouldn't be allowed to have their own country. That is bullshit. And it's something that we have to get past if we want to work to saving this country.
How are they any less American than you are? They're not. So don't let this brain rot you. What?
It's Europe? Well, it is.
Yeah, no, it's just objectively true. But understand, like I said, I'm not going to go too hard on xQc because he comes from a different part of the world. He grew up with a different culture. I think that more people need to understand that there is value in learning about other people's cultures, but not adopting other people's cultures. So xQc can have whatever opinion he wants. By the way, the only reason that xQc can say any of this is because he's on American platforms and we have enshrined in our Constitution the First Amendment, which, by the way, does get shredded from time to time, but it has been a rather firm guard against the censorship that we see in Sweden, in the UK, in Australia, in Canada, and a lot of these other places around the world. They don't have free speech enshrined. It is not just a Western value, because we've seen how quickly a lot of these Western nations give that up. But America is something special. And it's special because it was founded by amazing men, all of whom were white, Christian males. You can say, no, they were deists. They were white Christian males. They believed in God. They believed in Jesus. To what denomination they were, that's between them and God. But the reality is, this nation was founded by people who were great men, who were white men, who were Christian men, that wanted to create a better country for their people and honestly for the world. They did something unheard of in human history. Unheard of. They didn't make a new monarchy. They created a republic, which was incredible. But anyway, yeah, people are upset at Asmongold. You know, it's a day that ends in Y. But I just wanted to come out and support Asmongold because what he said was absolutely true. This is a white Christian nation. And I know that Asmongold, because he is far to the left, he doesn't think that necessarily we should be. But that is what we were founded as. Whatever we've become, we were founded as a Christian nation by white men and women. And what those people had to go through in order to get us to this point is unimaginable to people today. Lewis and Clark, for example. Look what they had to go through. Lewis and Clark. They didn't have GPS. They didn't have computers. They were basically trekking from the East Coast to the West Coast. They had to go on foot. Like, the whole thing is crazy. When you look at that part of history and what those amazing men had to do, it's insane. You look at George Washington. Learn a little bit about George Washington. That guy, fucking based. Didn't he own slaves? Do you know how George Washington, you know how he won? It was, the crossing of the Delaware is one of those pivotal moments. Do you know what that was about? I know that a lot of people don't. It's fine. It's fine. But the crossing of the Delaware, it was in the middle of winter. It was freezing in a way that a lot of people today couldn't even imagine. So George Washington goes, yeah, they're not expecting us. Why would they? It's freezing cold and it's getting dark. So we're going to get a bunch of our guys and we're going to go over there and we're going to slit their throats while they're caught off guard. They literally went over in a rowboat in the middle of winter when it was freezing fucking cold, where there was fog, and they went over there and they slit some fucking limey throats. That's what they did in the middle of fucking winter. The British are like, there's no way they're going to attack us in this blistering fucking cold. And this blistering cold, it's dark, they're not going to come, and guess what? George Washington's like, I'm coming, and boy, are you guys, you're going to be bleeders. We're going to stuff you like a hog. Yeah, comes in George Washington. Why does he sound like Trump? Well, I don't know. Maybe Trump is a descendant of George Washington. He said, well, you know, some say that I'm the best president since George Washington. But no, they went and did something absolutely incredible. Something unthinkable to people today. So, my point is, this country was made by amazing men. Can we please stop pretending that they weren't amazing? And can we please stop pretending that we need to revise history to make the feelings feel better for a bunch of people that aren't even American, like xQc? Like, who the fuck cares what he thinks about American politics? He's not American. He's not. He doesn't know anything about American history. You know? It's like, he can have his opinion, but no, America was founded as a white Christian nation. That is undeniably true. That is a statement of fact. Asmongold should not get as much shit as he's getting for it, but it doesn't sound good. So a lot of people want to object to it. They want to virtue signal off of it. Well, it's fucking bullshit. There should be more people that are calling you out because virtue signaling is fucking pathetic. Anyway, that'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.